The NFL trade deadline is done. The Browns get ready to host the Arizona Cardinals, and there's a lot of fantasy football news to get to right now on the Sick Podcast with Andy McNamara.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast with Andy McNamara. The sickest Cleveland Browns podcast.
Chubb runs, he's to the 10, 15, he's to the 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. There goes Chubb, he's to the 30, 20, 10, 5, touchdown, Shabba-lubba hub.
It's gonna be sick.
All right, everybody, welcome. We get ready for week 9 already. Can't believe it, already. In the National Football League, I'm Andy McNamara. Sick Podcast, let's go. NFL trade deadline fantasy football. My buddy Rich Dotson from Dynasty Nerds will be jumping on. He's from Cleveland too, so we'll talk some Browns, but also really dive in, get into our under the wire, waiver wire pickups in a little bit. For a crucial week, buys are back. So how to navigate that, who to pick up, who to stay away from. And NFL trade deadline wise, I'll get to the Browns move in a momento, okay? NFL trade deadline wise, pretty quiet. We'll get to some of those moves. First, though, of course, hit the notification, click subscribe, share the channel. We'd love to hear from all the Browns fans, fantasy football questions, betting questions, of course. Get us hashtag Ask Andy on Twitter at AndyMC81, at SickPodBrowns, and on Instagram and TikTok at AndyMCSport. So always love to interact and engage with all of you. Trade deadline. Browns made a move, sort of. For what reason? I don't know. Donovan Peoples-Jones, DPJ, gone. Traded to the Detroit Lions for a 6th-round draft pick. And not any 6th-round draft pick, folks. You might think, well, Andy, maybe we'll see what that 6th-rounder looks like this upcoming draft. No. You'll have to wait till 2025. So you gave away DPJ for nothing. 0. Andrew Berry, you might not even be here in 2025, depending how this whole Deshaun Watson thing pans out. Right? He might not even be here. I don't understand the move. Okay, so DPJ walks away at the end of the year and you don't get a 6th-round pick in 2025. Big whoop. Who cares? I don't know why Donovan Peoples-Jones was so underutilized for his whole Browns tenure. I don't get it. Whenever you called on him, what'd the guy do? Made contested, difficult sideline catches just about every time. Blocked willingly, aggressively. Did everything you asked of him that we could see as fans. I don't know why you didn't try to utilize him more, and ultimately why you ship him off. What if there's an injury? Okay, you can bring up Austin Watkins from the practice squad. I get that. Cedric Tillman, you weren't using him anyway. Fine. But a 6th-round pick to the Detroit Lions. And people might be wondering why the Lions. Well, our old buddy John Dorsey, former Browns GM, is there. He's the one that brought in DPJ, right? So it's all kind of connected. That's a great move for the Lions. And if you can utilize, you can slide in DPJ to that team as a WR3 type, that's a great addition by the Lions. That's a money add for the Detroit Lions, who went into aggressive acquisition mode. And you get a receiver on a contract year, again, willing blocker who can make contested catches. Sounds pretty sweet to me. I don't understand the deal. I don't like the deal. And, is it DPJ's fault that the quarterback play has been terrible? No. I don't understand it. What do you think? Let me know. Let me know in the comment section. Do you like the deal? Can't understand if you would, but let me know. If you like the deal, tell me. What do you think about the trade? What would you have wanted the Browns to get? Is there anything you wanted them to get and then they didn't? Get in the comments, Twitter at AndyMC81, at SickPodBrowns, Instagram at AndyMCSports. The quarterback talk, it sounded like they weren't getting anybody. There was, get Jacoby Brissett. Okay, that wasn't going to happen. Who are you going to get, right? And Andy Dalton. Now, those two people I just mentioned are upgrades over PJ Walker. But if you did that, I would think that would lead us to believe that Deshaun Watson would be headed to IR, right? This is what, week 6 of day-to-day? Like the last time Deshaun Watson played in a game, for a full game, I was there, live, week 3 against the Titans. And they won that huge matchup. Now what? Is it PJ Walker? Indecisive? Is it Dorian Thompson-Robinson? Is it Watson? It's all over the place. It's all over the place. It's ridiculous. Other trade deadline news, and when Rich Dotson pops in a few minutes, we'll chat with him about some of the moves and non-moves. Biggest move for me was the Washington Commanders trading Chase Young and Montez Sweat, mainly Young, to the 49ers. Thank goodness we already played them. Chase Young, defensive rookie of the year, absolute stud, goes to that 49ers team. They're loading up. You know what the 49ers are doing? They recognize Brock Purdy might be maybe coming back down to earth. So what do? You load up and you make that defense even nastier. You had Chase Young to that Niners D? Man, that's a statement pickup. That's a statement pickup. What they get? 3rd round pick? Yeah. 3rd round pick for Chase Young. Yeah, pretty sweet. Montez Sweat would have been a nice plug and play. I would have loved to get one of those guys. Imagine adding Chase Young or even Montez Sweat to this defense. The defense has been good, of course, right? Very good. Giving up crucial drives in the last 3 games, though. A lot more points. That's not a world record-setting defense. You want to say greatest of all time? Really? Are you? No. You let up 14. You spotted a 14-point lead. You played great at the end, and then you let Geno Smith do a touchdown drive. Defense is good, not great yet. Still, obviously, one of the big strengths of this team. I would have loved whatever they paid for Montez Sweat. I would have done that if I was the Browns. 3rd round pick for Chase Young. Depends how much he's going to make, though, right? The problem is, of course, with Deshaun Watson, is that you can't make these big, huge splash signings. Chase Young is a stud. Did you guys hear this too? That Deshaun Watson so far, the Haslams, the Browns have paid Deshaun Watson so far $90 million of his contract. $90 million for what? 1.5 good games, the Washington game last year and the Titans game? $90 million. I know it's not my money, but that is just a sticker shock when you hear that for what's actually been done. And he's still out. Absolutely wild. Well, we'll get ready for the Arizona Cardinals coming to town. We'll talk some fantasy football right now with Cleveland Browns fan and one of the big dogs at Dynasty Nerds, your premier fantasy football destination. My guy, back to the show, friend of show, Rich Dotson. Rich, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Andy. How you been, my friend?
I've been doing okay. I'm kind of pissed about the Donovan Peoples-Jones trade for a 6th rounder in 2 years. I don't get that.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, he's not really playing. Listen, Donovan Peoples-Jones gave us great production for a 6th round pick, a late round pick.
Yeah.
You can't ask for more. He wasn't coming back this year. They already drafted his replacement, Cedric Tillman, out of Tennessee. And that's a player that I've been excited about. He's a player that I loved watching his tape that we spent a 3rd round pick on. And I like that, the Browns look at this. Hey, let's get Cedric in here. Let's see if we can get him acclimated. Let's see if he can play. We know what Donovan can give us. They obviously haven't targeted him a ton this year. He hasn't been heavily involved. Right now, we don't have a quarterback that can push the ball downfield anyway, so it doesn't even really matter. And you got what you paid for him. So for me, for a player that wasn't coming back, like I'm not mad about it, right? Like I'm okay because Cedric Tillman's a really nice player. He's a good deep right. He's a good go down the field, get the ball kind of guy. If it wasn't for his ankle injury, he probably would have been a higher draft pick. Sure. His ankle injury led to Jalen Hyatt winning the Biletnikoff Award. So for me, I'm okay with it. I'm more mad about the defense giving up that final touchdown and the ref. I won't say I'm mad about the refs missing that hold. They'll let Jackson Smith Jigba get in because one thing I can never say ever happens is we got a couple of calls go our way these last couple of days.
Yes, yeah.
So I won't sit here and pout about it. This game is full of bad calls. It's what we live and die by. Don't put yourself in position for the refs to give you the wins or the losses. Take care of your business. Everybody's crying about that throw. All my friends are crying about it. Did I want Kevin Stefanski to run the ball? Yeah, 100% I did. Yeah, but I'm okay with him going for the win. But it is what it is. On to the Cardinals.
It's done.
I went out.
It's done. And you know what? I think with the DPJ thing, Rich, it's more mad that I never thought he was fully used to his potential. Whenever you threw a contested ball down the sideline, the guy brought it in. Willing blocker. Like, it just seemed like he was always – I would have at least have liked to have explored more of Donovan Peoples-Jones. But you're right. This year, what are you going to do? You got P.J. Walker wanting to chuck it up. He throws an interception every 6th pass, right? Like,
oh my God, he's so terrible. If you were in my house, in my living room, these last couple of weeks, and hearing the things that come out of my mouth of PJ Walker that I would never repeat in public, that I would never say to his face because it's not personable. They are not nice, man. Because I listen, no offense to PJ, what a story for an XFL to be a starter in the NFL. What an accomplishment for him. But he is bad. He is absolutely atrocious. I mean, just because he made a couple nice throws, like I'm not okay with that. Where other people are like, I saw Rich Eisen tweet out during the game, like, "Oh, PJ Walker's balling." I'm like, I don't know what game you're watching.
Settle down, Rich. Eisen.
So,
down, Eisen.
He's terrible, man. I'm kind of disappointed the Browns were able to bring Brissett back this week. But it is what it is. This is our bed. We'll lie in it. Let's go out there and beat the Cardinals. Let's rest Deshaun Watson one more week. Let's let this defense eat up Clayton Tune, who's a statue in the pocket. So Myles Garrett should have a field day. This team is not good whatsoever. They currently have the number 1 pick in the draft. This game should not be close.
No.
Let the defense go out there. Let the defense, kind of rebound, get some of that mojo back because they've certainly lost it over those last 3 weeks. I don't know if it got into their own head or they're just playing better offenses, but let Deshaun rest one more week. And then the real season starts with Baltimore. That's a game we have to win. And if we don't win, that's okay because we can afford to lose. If we win the rest of our games and we lose to Baltimore and we lose to Cincinnati at the end there, you'll be 12-5. And that's a playoff caliber team. And that's what I'm looking to do is just get into the playoffs and make some noise. But we won't make any noise. We'll just be screaming on mute if Deshaun Watson's not healthy. And that's the most important thing because our whole season relies on Deshaun Watson. It's cut and dry. For us to do anything this year going forward, it's all on Deshaun Watson. So we got to get him healthy.
Yeah, that's absolutely it. And it's a 6-week day-to-day injury, Rich. A 6-week, it's been day-to-day. It's insane. An only in Cleveland type moment where, like, how does this happen? And when you look at, like you said, for PJ Walker, that's what I said after the game. I'm not mad at PJ Walker. Like, what should we expect? You can't be upset with, like, PJ Walker. Of course, PJ Walker's terrible. He's a practice squad quarter. Like, I'm not mad at the man. He wants to do well, right? He's trying, but he's just not that good. Like, okay, so this week, what's the right call here, Rich? Is it better to go back to PJ for another week? Do you go back to Dorian Thompson-Robinson, who, in fairness to him, was told an hour and a half before the game he's going to play and looked like he was horrified? I'm not sure what the answer is there. Like you said, Clayton Tune you should be able to just run wild on him, but we've seen stranger things against this team.
Yeah, to me, you can't really do that much worse than PJ Walker, honestly, for what he does out there and what he gives you. I mean, I think he's arguably the worst rated quarterback in the NFL right now. I mean,
Rich, he was beyond. He's like 33rd. Like, he's worse than the worst. He's like,
and I think Dorian Thompson in that short stint is even behind him, but you can't do worse. I mean, you got to go in there with the game plan of just, hey, let's keep everything short. Let's do so. The screen game was working really well with Njoku. Put the ball in Elijah's hands. Some of those end arounds with Marquise and just run the ball. I mean, look at what we did there versus Seattle. I mean, every running back had about 25 carries. That's like 75 carries throughout the game. So Pierre Strong looks solid. Kareem Hunt looks solid. Jerome Ford looks solid. Run the football. Run the football. Throw when you have to. Run the football. Let's get to Baltimore. Like this. I know you can't look over any team in the NFL, but like this is a team you could kind of look over. I mean,
and they're coming in, warm weather team, long flight, nothing to play for.
Yeah. This
should be, you're right. We can't overlook anybody, but this is a pad your stat line for the defense. This is Myles Garrett to get three plus sacks and continue his defensive player of the year run. Let's get Zadarius Smith get a sack too. Like, stack it up that way. But the question is this: you're saying the right things. You're saying the same things that me and much of the fan base are saying of run more, keep the passing simple. Yet it's like Kevin Stefanski, Rich, can't help himself. In certain situations, he just can't help himself. Kareem Hunt showed visible frustration, talked to the media about it. Like, with all that success, that 3 rotation, like, kudos to the offensive line, to the backs. And then when the game was on the line, you throw it. And it's just a repeating pattern, it seems, with Kevin Stefanski.
Yeah, and I didn't like that Kareem Hunt came out and say he was all frustrated about it, because that was a problem last year. That's why I didn't sign him back. It's like, hey, dude, you got to live in your role. And unfortunately, Kareem Hunt, you've lost a lot of your explosiveness. You're a backup running back. You're a complimentary butterback. You've looked good these last couple of weeks. Yeah, that's great. But don't sit out here. You're not the Kareem Hunt, 4 years ago. So I don't want to, if you're going to give the ball to him, I would have been just happy they gave it to Pierre Strong. I'd have been happy they gave it to Jerome Ford.
100%.
So I don't like Kareem Hunt come out and saying something like that. But yeah, I mean, Stefanski, I don't know what his thought process was there. Maybe he thought, the analytics says, hey, they think we're going to run here, to build on the clock. Let's do a quick screen right here and win the ball game. It was really unfortunate that it bounced off somebody's helmet. But, we're Cleveland Browns fans. So the most bizarre things that are going to happen are going to happen. It's the story of our lives. Every podcast I do when I want to talk Cleveland Browns, I always say, listen, man, I don't want to hear from any other franchise fan out there.
No,
there's nobody that can sit at a table with me and tell me that their franchise has suffered or has been involved in craziness as the Browns over the last 35 years. I mean,
yes.
And that's even starting back, even when we were good, when we were good, there's names that are named. You don't even have to mention anything. You just say the fumble. You can say the drive.
Yeah.
You can say Red Right 88. You can say these things to people, and they know what you're talking about. And that doesn't even go to the horror and the pain from 99 on. Nobody can experience. And it's not just in game, it's out of game, from GMs to coaches, the owners, the fans, the Bottlegate to Dwayne Rudd. It's an endless storyline of craziness and improbability. And here we are again. We're a team that trades a haul for a quarterback who we thought was going to be a franchise quarterback. And here we are almost 2 years later.
Mm-hmm.
And we have yet, besides Tennessee, for $250 million and all the draft capital we gave up, seen this guy do anything remotely resembling a top 15 high caliber quarterback.
Nowhere close.
Anything at all that Baker Mayfield's doing for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at all. He's not doing anything at all that Brock Purdy is doing for the San Francisco 49ers. The list can go on and on.
Jared Goff. People dismiss Jared Goff of look, Jared Goff has the Lions at 6-2.
Yeah, you're talking to the wrong guy. I've always been a Jared Goff supporter. I always thought he was, better than average. I don't think he's I think he's a good enough quarterback to win you a Super Bowl. Let me put it that way.
And he's gotten to one.
He's gone to the Super Bowl. So I thought Jared Goff always got a lot of hate. I mean, I thought, obviously the Rams won that trade by winning the Super Bowl, but I really do think the Lions won that trade as well. And if them looking long term, look where they are now. You can argue the Lions are the best team in the NFL right now.
You can put them right up there. And the Browns making that deal with that capital, like you said, having already paid out $90 million for nothing pretty much to Deshaun Watson. Now we wait. And Rich, my fear is this rotator cuff, I don't know, right? We're not doctors. This has the stink of not getting right all year. And then before we know it, Rich, we could look up and think that's 2 years gone. We have 3 years left with this guy. Is the coach going to be on? What if they blow it up and make a coaching change? Then you have another year you have to get used. It just seems like we're in a pattern of possible excuses, and we'll look up and then it's over.
Yeah, see, I think this is Andrew Berry's bed. I would not put this on Kevin Stefanski. I think, a lot of people here in Cleveland, they're going to say, that's what we do as fans. We complain. I think Kevin Stefanski's done a pretty good job. I mean, we can sit here and complain about us. Yeah, you can sit here and complain about a third down run all day, but every coach is going to make a decision that's questionable that you might not agree with.
Yeah.
At times, like I said, I'm not totally against that decision whatsoever, but I think Stefanski's done a really good job. And people want to fire Stefanski. I mean, look what he has. He's got Jim Schwartz, who's a fantastic defensive coordinator. You've got the best offensive line coach in the NFL, and Bill Callahan. And the Browns right now are 5-3.
Special teams too.
Yeah, Bubba Ventrone, he has got him in top 5 in special teams, and that's a whole package, right? Like, we're not blowing this. Like, you'd be stupid to blow this up. Where you win is continuity. That's where you win the NFL. I mean, you always get you'll get a fresh coach coming in and change things up, and they might go far. But the continuity and a quarterback in the same system for a long time, that's how teams win. Not having changeover, not having to lose new schemes, taking a scheme they know and then add on top of that and give you more dimensions to win. So keeping Kevin Stefanski is how the Browns are going to win long term. And the Browns are 5-3. We have a really good football team. We lost our right tackle. We lost arguably the best running back in the entire NFL.
We hope to be 5-3, Rich. We hope. 4-3 Rams. We hope.
Yeah, 4-3. Sorry. So
I
thought we were.
I like your thinking. You're positive.
We're going to be 5-3, 4-3. We have over 50% chance to make the playoffs, and we have so much loss so far. Our defense is playing really good. Our schedule outside of our division opponents is pretty easy the rest of the year. So let's let it all play out. I still think the Browns made the playoffs. The most important thing, like I said 10 minutes ago, is we got to look at Deshaun Watson right, or as close as possible. So let him rest again. Let's see where this goes. And let's get them all back here. Let's see. The question is, like, what can we do next year? Like our whole defensive line outside of Dalvin Tomlinson and Myles Garrett is going to be free agents. Like, who can we bring back? Who can we keep? I know we got Okanakwo for 2 more years, but it's going to be interesting. And I'm excited to see how the rest of the year play out. I'm still optimistic because I think with this defense and our offensive line, the weapons we have in the receiving game, I still think this is a team that can kind of push it in the AFC, definitely with the way the rest of the AFC is playing, if he can get right. But that's a big if.
That's a very big if. Okay, Rich, we got a few more minutes with you. It's fantasy football time, man. Okay, let's get to some under the wire, waiver wire pickups. Let's go.
Yeah, so at quarterback, I mean, let's run through each position here, give you a guy each position I think are pretty good quality pickups. After his last start, this is pretty easy. It's Will Levis of the Tennessee Titans. He's got Derrick Henry, so he's got a good running game. But it's not just Derrick Henry. He's also got Tajay Spears there to keep the defense honest. And Will Levis has got a big arm. Everything that he did in college did not show up in the NFL with him taking sacks or turning the football over. He had 3 of the 4 longest touchdown throws of the year, all in one game, DeAndre Hopkins. And they were buttes too. I mean, this guy.
They were a good touch.
Yeah, you could tell. I mean, he's a jacked quarterback. We haven't seen a quarterback like that probably since Brady Quinn coming in. I'll be
better arm on this guy.
But I mean, this is a prospect that was touted pretty highly. I know Mel Kiper had him as his number 1 quarterback on the board. A really big arm. It's always easy for a quarterback to come on over and look pretty good when a defense doesn't have any tape on you or prepare for you. But I mean, with DeAndre Hopkins, with Treylon Burks, with Chiga Okanakwo, this is a team that could move the ball downfield with Will Levis. So I think he's a really good waiver wire for the Tennessee Titans.
That's a top man.
Yeah, at running back, I really like, if Leonard Fournette's out there, he's worth an ad for the Buffalo Bills to see, because Latavius Murray and Damian Harris have been hurt, but Latavius Murray is just not getting done at the goal line. And it's encouraging to see that the Bills are trying to get away from Josh Allen carrying the football. I know he's a little bit banged up too, but carrying the football inside that red zone, inside that 5-yard line. And they're looking for a running back to do that. That's why they brought in Damian Harris. That's why they brought in Latavius Murray. And neither of those guys have been able to get it done. So what they do, they sign Lombardi Lenny, and they're going to put him on a practice squad. He'll be on the active roster soon enough. And the fact that this team is constantly going to be in the red zone, this is a good ad. But one of my favorite ads is going to be Amari DeMarcado of the Arizona Cardinals coming up this week. This is a player we know James Conner is on the injured reserve for at least another week, but we have seen his carries go up every single week. And if you look what he's done over the last 2 games, he's handled 37 of the 44 touches coming out of that backfield. So when it comes to running back production, definitely in fantasy football, you're just looking for guys to get touches, right? Same thing about receivers. You want targets. For running backs, you're looking for touches and an opportunity. And Amari DeMarcado for the Arizona Cardinals does just that right now. He's getting all the touches. He's going to come in this week versus the Browns. The Browns have a pretty good defense, and they're probably going to fall behind, have to throw the ball. And that'll be the common theme all year long. But DeMarcado, he can be viable in the passing game as well. So if you're looking for a running back on your waiver wire, everybody else is going to run out there and get Leonard Fournette. I wouldn't mind picking up Amari DeMarcado.
Well, and too, Rich, for that, when you have Clayton Tune in, a rookie quarterback, what's a rookie quarterback's best friend? It's the running back. Right?
Check it down, too. Check it down.
The only thing that spooked me, I picked up DeMarcado a few weeks ago. Then Keontae Ingram came in, and then I was like, and then Ingram went out. So it's a little back and forth, but I think DeMarcado is the better pickup.
Yeah, Ingram's terrible. He's angry. At receiver, I think a really good pickup for your team this week would be Demario Douglas of the New England Patriots, the rookie out there. When you look at Douglas, the rookie, you kind of be surprised over the second half of the year. He's really kind of leading the team in a lot of different carries, whether it be the routes run, the target share. He's coming in. He's the number 1 guy. They just lost Kendrick Bourne to an ACL tear. And Kendrick Bourne is wide receiver 28, putting together a nice little year there. Probably going to get to 1,000 yards. But he's out for the year, the ACL tear. And look what else they have around him. They have Devontae Parker.
He's banged up too.
He's banged up. I think he's got a concussion. But I mean, he's banged up and he's not doing anything out there. No. They have Tyquan Thornton. He's been healthy inactives. Juju Smith-Schuster is worth nothing. This is, again, a team that's going to be kind of trailing a lot of games and trying to stay competitive. So for me, if you're looking for need a receiver for depth, I think Demario Douglas is the best waiver wire you can pick up because he's going to see the targets and hopefully they can lead to productions. Obviously, I don't know how the touchdowns will be there, but when you're looking for target share, opportunity, and routes run, Demario Douglas of the New England Patriots.
Yeah, possible flex. Tight end.
Even put him on the back of your team, right? Like just pick him up, one, so nobody else has him. And then two, if he really does start to step up here, you have him as your wide receiver. You have him as a flex. Maybe you still have a couple more bye weeks to come because bye weeks go all the way to week 13 this year. He's a good fill-in. And the way, this is the NFL. Players drop every single week, 1 minute you have Justin Jefferson, the next minute you don't, the next minute, 1 minute you have Nick Chubb, the next minute you don't. 1 minute you have Kirk Cousins, the next minute you don't. So
Rich, let me ask you on that real quick. Dobbs to the Vikings. I have Jordan Addison and TJ Hawkinson. How scared should I be on my fantasy football team?
Jordan Addison's a really savvy route runner. It's going to be Jaron Hall probably this week, the rookie they drafted at quarterback, but Dobbs should get in there pretty quickly. Dobbs has been pretty atrocious in Arizona too, so it's nothing to root over there. But you just mentioned, you said it a little while ago, what are these bad quarterbacks' best friends? The running backs, but more importantly, the tight ends, right? Like short, intermediate, something right over the middle that they could see, sit there in the flat, soft zone. So for me, I think TJ Hawkinson will just be just fine. And Jordan Addison, I think he'll do well too, because he's a really good route runner. He knows how to get open. He's a number one receiver in this team. And when you look at fantasy football right now, if you look over the last 4 weeks, Jordan Addison, I believe, is wide receiver 3 overall over the last 4 weeks. And another rookie too, Josh Downs, is wide receiver 10 over the last 4 weeks as well in Indianapolis. Same thing, a very savvy route runner, short guy, like 5'9", but real good route runner, good hands, doing exactly what he did at UNC, helping out Gardner Minshew, right? These quarterbacks that aren't so great, short, sweet route runners. Who are the guys that can get open? Like, I'm not trying to press it into the tight man coverage. I'm looking for guys that can get separation, and that's where the really good route runners come in. Guys like Amari Cooper, DeAndre Hopkins, and whatnot. So, yeah, I think Jordan Addison will be just fine. And of course, TJ Hawkinson's still going to ease and get a tremendous amount of targets there.
Okay, good. That gives me some ease. And at tight end, then we'll get you out of here. Trey McBride for Arizona might be as good a pickup as anybody, too. Again, talk to those short, just to your point, to the Vikings. Same thing. Clayton Tune, Trey McBride targets going up. Zach Ertz out. Might be a nice pickup, too.
Yeah, on the Dynasty Nerds podcast, if you listen to that, which you should, 2 weeks ago, my favorite 2 buys 2 weeks ago on the podcast, I said were Trey McBride and Will Levis. And since then, they've made me look really, really smart.
Yes.
So, Trey McBride with Zach Ertz going IR, I mean, he's just seeing a heavy amount of targets out there in Arizona, seeing almost 40% of the targets. And he's running routes on like 85% of the routes out there right now. So right now we saw Zach Ertz come out and produce as a tight end 1 when he was in the Arizona Cardinals. Right now, if you're looking for a tight end 1, Trey McBride is getting it done. Former John Mackey Award winner too. So this is a guy who's taken the second round. So he's not just some guy. This is a guy that's invested for long-term. So Trey McBride for the Arizona Cardinals is absolutely my favorite Cardinals pickup in the fantasy world out there. So who else they have? They have Marquise Brown, Rondale Moore. He's real small. He's not very good. Another former second-round pick. So the number one targeted guy out there is Trey McBride for the Cardinals. So same thing. If you bring in a guy like Josh Dobbs, or even not Josh Dobbs, I'm saying you bring a guy like Clayton Tune, Trey McBride's be his best friend. And same with Kyler Murray, right? Kyler Murray's going to be coming back soon. He's going to find an open guy and put the ball where it needs to be. He'll put McBride in better situations and actually open the Cardinals. He'll be able to push the ball down more field a little bit more and put him in better position to score in the red zone, because that team has outside of Michael Wilson, who's the outside receiver. They were looking for that big outside guy. Trey McBride's the biggest threat they have in the red zone. Yeah. So he's another good athlete out there. So those are my favorite wide receiver waiver wire ads for entering week 9.
Love it, brother. Love it. Listen, we'll let you get out of here. Tell people where they can find you. The Dynasty Nerds. The content is always phenomenal. You're on Twitter as well. Let people know.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter at Dynasty Rich. You can find Dynasty Nerds at Dynasty Nerds. We hammer away at Dynasty fantasy football, but it all correlates, right? It's hand in hand with regular fantasy football. Our Dynasty Nerds podcast comes out every single Wednesday, every single week of the year, because we don't ever stop talking fantasy football. We break down all the rookies for you in the springtime. And right now, if you play fantasy football on the Sleeper app, you can even check out in the bottom right-hand corner, the Sleeper has their minis. We just launched the Dynasty Nerds mini inside the Sleeper app. has our trade calculator and our league analyzer all in one spot for you to help you make the best decisions possible to win your league. Because that's all we focus on here. How to win short term, but even more importantly, how to win long term in fantasy football. So, dynastynerds.com. Check us out.
Love it, man. Just win, baby. That's what we do. And that's what the Browns are going to do this Sunday against the Cardinals, brother. Let's do it.
Yeah, you got it. Thanks,
all right,
Andy.
buddy.
Talk soon, man. Thanks,
See
buddy.
you later. There we go. It's Rich Dotson, DynastyNerds.com. Always a gem. Love having Rich on. Remember, teams on buys this week, folks, for your fantasy football team. The Broncos, the Lions, the 49ers, and the Jaguars. There's a lot of missing pieces there, okay? So make sure you missed some of what Rich said. Go back, listen there. If Josh Downs is still floating around, 3 weeks ago now. Old Andy told you about Josh Downs, right? Look at that. Shaheed for the Saints, bit of a home run hitter guy, but he's been hitting some home runs, so he's kind of hot. So you might want to be popping him in a little bit as well. So any other fantasy football questions, of course, get me on Twitter at X, whatever. Hashtag Ask Andy at AndyMC81 at SickPodBrowns, Instagram at AndyMC Sports, TikTok at AndyMC Sports as well. And remember, folks, DraftKings Sportsbook. All these games we're talking about. What about Thursday Night Football? Hey, maybe old Will Levis can put the boots to the Steelers, who are 3-point favorites. You just use the code 6sports. There you go. 6sports gets you $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5 on any NFL bet. So you go and you're going to bet on the NFL. Why not do it at DraftKings Sportsbook? Bet the 5, get 200, and bet on whatever you like. They got prop plays. They got some quick play games. Lots of fun stuff there on the DraftKings Sportsbook app. The crown is yours, official betting partner of the National Football League. And if I'm looking at this Thursday Night Football, Pittsburgh, 3-point favorites at home. Will Levis, maybe it was a fluke. I don't think so, though. I think the Titans go in to Pukesburg and they stomp on those squeaky Steelers, who maybe it's Trubisky, maybe it's Baby Hands Pickett, I don't care. But Will Levis is going to have a challenge. If he comes out and he looks good, anywhere close to what he did last week against that Steelers D, you're a Titans fan. You got the real deal, okay? So we'll be back for Sunday's show. Live fantasy football, get you ready for Browns and Cardinals, and keep you up to date on any other breaking Browns news at SickPodBrowns on Twitter X. There you go. Thanks to Rich Dotson, Dynasty Nerds. Thanks to Sammy and the Sick Podcast crew. I'm Andy McNamara. Hey, we'll see you Sunday. Browns, Cardinals, fantasy football. Go Browns!
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast with Andy McNamara on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.